I'm Jeff Hunt. He's Bill Thorpe. It's almost Friday, Bill.
What'd you say? I'm sorry, I was scrolling Facebook. I missed something? What was it?
This is fascinating. I dove into all this stuff yesterday. What's been sued successfully? What hasn't been sued regarding addiction? Who do you hold responsible? Because in America, in part, sometimes, we do hold you responsible. If you knew this was harming people, you had internal documentation of it, and yet you still pushed it out there, well, there's some retribution. That's happened with tobacco companies and opioid companies. Both knew the problems of their products and continued to push it on people, and, some retribution to be had there. Others, on the other hand, pointing back to the individual, going, you're the one that's making this choice. For instance, fast food.
Yeah.
There's been lawsuits brought to fast food saying you have made your food addictive. You know it adds to obesity and strokes and all this other stuff that people have, heart attacks. You need to be held responsible. And the court's going, well, you're the one making the purchase. You're the one that's going to be held responsible. What do you do with social media? Mark Zuckerberg facing a jury in a landmark trial over alleged youth harm linked to social media. Do they know how bad it is? Did they specifically design Instagram, Facebook, TikTok to addict you with scrolling features and get you sucked into hours and hours and hours of youth? And then is it harming young people? Is that the reason why we have depression, self-harm taking place out there? And should these companies be held accountable? We'll get into that and more this hour. Now is time, though, for the news.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, good Thursday morning, 27 and partly cloudy in Denver, 26 in the Springs. Expecting highs in the low 40s today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning. For a new home heating and cooling system, contact your Lennox dealer, Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at pastorcamp.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Our top story.
People want people held accountable, and that is what President Trump ran on. He ran on specifics: America first, holding people accountable, election integrity, and we are not seeing that with our president right now. So, no, this 3rd Congressional District wants a true conservative.
She supports DJT, but speaking the truth. Hope Scheppelman on with Jeff and Billy last hour, and she's running against Jeff Hurd in CD3 and understands that her district stands for this country first.
We are seeing here in Colorado's 3rd District that people, when they already know how he has voted, how the sitting congressman has voted, they are looking at something different. They want something different. They want a true fighter. And how we know this, the Freedom Index actually scores Congressman Jeff Hurd with a 67%. Congresswoman Lauren Boebert still sits at a 90 to 93% lifetime score.
Yes, DJT endorsed Hurd, but Scheppelman says that we know that 47 has plenty of people around him who don't give him good advice. A 5th person has died following Tuesday's multi-vehicle crash on I-25 near Pueblo. Major Brian Lyons with the Colorado State Patrol.
Unfortunately, due to the lack of moisture and stuff that we've had in the area recently, the dirt and everything just transversed all the way across I-25.
4 people were pronounced dead at the scene, and nearly 30 others were taken to the hospital, with one later dying from injuries. 47 says the Board of Peace will be one of the most important things he will be involved in. He convened the first meeting of the board this morning in D.C. with representatives from at least 20 countries.
So today is a tremendous honor to welcome you all to the United States Institute of Peace for the inaugural meeting of the Board of Peace. Very important. I believe it's the most consequential board, certainly in terms of power.
DJT said the board will focus on issues like rebuilding of Gaza and ending wars. He also expressed confidence that countries who haven't joined the board will soon accept. France, Germany, and the UK and Spain all declined invitations to join the
got a weird question
international
on that.
organization. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's running the bank account? Because we're talking about $1 billion or so thrown in. Yeah, the Board of Peace. Because it's not set up. Yeah, it's not set up.
They
by
got
the U.S.
Tim Walz
government
to manage it, guys.
Oh, good. That's great. That's the weird part is what I haven't heard is the functionality of who sets up and controls this account, and I think that's an issue because it's not a government account. Because the Board of Peace is not something that was set up by the U.S. government. It's nothing that has any legislative power or action. There's no department. So I'm real curious. Where is this mysterious bank account? Who's holding the cash? And who has control of the account? I'm not thinking that you have that answer, but as we go forward in this thing, those are questions we should want to know. Who controls the purse strings of this account and why? I think it's interesting, but we'll talk about that later.
Can it be worse, though, than what Gaza currently has going on right now?
No,
I mean,
not.
you got money pouring in from Iran, and you're a giant pile of rubble.
I have an idea, though. How about all the money that we spend on other countries to help them, we stop doing that and put it in the Board of Peace? Would that work?
Why?
Or,
why? Again, I don't know.
I mean, what are the expenses for it? I mean, what,
I don't know. But he's charging $1 billion to join. So
yeah,
I mean,
know.
there's obviously
Yeah.
some
Oh,
expenses.
you're saying what is he doing with that money?
Yeah, that money that comes in,
Yeah.
because he's saying is that, and he says there's this money that is going to rebuild Gaza. Where's that account? And who's got the control over it? That's vitally important, I think, in the
agree
entire
with you on
discussion.
that.
Yeah, I just can't figure that one
do.
out. Yeah, I can't figure that one out, and nor
Bill,
can I.
I don't know why you're getting so worked up.
Yeah.
I've found that whenever you hand giant piles of money to government with no transparency, it always turns out
But the
well.
problem is this: the giant pile of money isn't going to a government. It's not coming into the U.S. We don't count that as income. It's not on our ledger sheet. That's my entire point of this. This entire set of money doesn't come in and doesn't sit in any government balance book. It sits somewhere else. And I can't figure out how that entity gets to decide who controls and then invests in Gaza. But more importantly, where's the money? It's not coming into government accounts. It's not on a government ledger. So I can't figure that out. But again, we'll follow,
I'm right
watch
there
this.
with you.
We'll watch this.
He
and see how
does
it
have
says.
exclusive lifetime authority over its operations. The Board of Peace.
So-
Chairman Donald J. Trump.
So in theory, it goes into a Trump bank account that the Trump
Looks
family
like it.
controls. Huh.
But like I
Draw your own
said,
conclusions.
can't get any worse than what Gaza currently has going on. Go ahead, Mike.
none of our money should go anywhere else. Though.
There you go.
I mean, that's the way I look at it. But I agree with you. It's a good question.
Yeah,
Great
we'll watch
question.
it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
I think it's a good
let's
question.
do it.
We'll see. Yeah.
Bean
I love
Checkered says it's another Trump savings account. In 18 years, when Peace graduates from high school, they'll have $500 billion.
Yeah, and his kids will get to buy several islands and maybe a small country. Yeah,
Again,
because it's
still
theirs.
better than what Gaza's currently got going on.
I don't know if I'd agree with that one.
It
I'm not
always
sure.
comes back to you choose the news because I hope it doesn't involve a body bag at a bank.
Yeah, that would be bad. I got your deposit right here.
Right. The former Prince Andrew is being accused of misconduct in public office after more revelations about his connection with Satan Epstein. British police took Andrew, the brother of King Charles III, into custody today. King Charles expressed his deepest concern about the news and added authorities have the royal family's full and wholehearted support. Cruz in
Do
California.
you think, by the way, he's put in with the general population?
What's
Oh, I hope so.
Prince Andrew?
God, that would be beautiful.
I hope
Or
so.
do you
but
think
there's
there's
no
a special royal jail cell?
Oh, absolutely, there is.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And it has velvet lined bars, and in the morning you get a massage.
How many previous royalty have spent time in jail? Does anyone know?
Not enough. That is going to be my guess.
Yeah, boy,
If
that's
I just
the
had to say,
truth.
not enough.
That's the truth. I don't think any have they?
Been arrested. Well, let's look
Yeah.
up.
Okay.
How
I
many
would be
previous royals in
shocked.
England have been arrested in 2026? Oh, yeah, that's okay. Prince Andrew. Prince Anne became the first member of the current royal family to be convicted of a criminal offense, the Dangerous Dogs Act, after her dog bit 2 children, but was not formally arrested. That was 2002. In the 7th century, King Charles I was the last senior royal taken prisoner, arrested by parliamentary forces. That was the 17th century. Anne Boleyn was put in the Tower of London. Well, this is some real history stuff happening
That
right
is.
now.
That's
So
fascinating.
it's the last time. So maybe the Tower of London's getting reopened for Prince Andrew.
Oh, I guess, we always say here in America, we got that thing of, people running around, do you know who I am? See Boland's kid, that kind of thing. I guess it works much better in England where you're like, have you seen these royal jewels? Pun intended. I'm just saying,
Oh, man. Oh, great picture there. Tomorrow night, Arizona State at DU and Western Michigan at CC in college hockey. U.S. women's hockey team, they take on Canada for the gold medal today. Tomorrow, the men in the semifinal versus Slovakia. And NBA tonight, Clippers in town to take on the Nuggets at 8:30 late start. 26 in the Springs, 27 in Denver, and that's the latest. I'm Blake Olson. More of the Jeff and Bill Show ahead on News Talk 710 KNUS in Denver, and now on 1460, AM 1460 and FM 101.1 The Answer in Colorado Springs. This is where you hear both sides. We are the Jeff and Bill Show.
The second of 3 waves has now moved out of Colorado. We're going to see a winter storm across the plains of Nebraska into parts of the northwest Corn Belt with cold Canadian air coming in behind the system. You're going to find temperatures here in Denver and Colorado Springs much colder than what we've been used to lately. We're going to spend most of today in the mid to upper 30s, teens tonight, and Denver and Colorado Springs will only be in the 30s on Friday. Now, wave number 3, the last of these waves, comes through on Friday. And while it's not going to be a big storm, we're going to see a little bit of light snow developing along the I-25 corridor, out across 70, both in the mountains and on the plains. So travelers keep that in mind. Light dusting to snow Friday and Friday night and continued quite cold through Saturday. Temperatures rebound with high pressure returning as we get into Saturday afternoon, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. In the meantime, be ready for a little bit of winter. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
.710 KNUS here in Denver.
And as you just heard, now waking up with the folks at The Answer in Colorado Springs. That's AM 1460 and FM 101.1.
All along the Front Range, this is the Jeff and Bill Show. We hear both sides. Great event coming up with Colorado Christian University. Yeah. How should Christians navigate a world of division with faith, clarity, and hope? Colorado Christian University is hosting Hugh Hewitt on March 13th at 7 p.m. for the President's Speaker Series. Hugh Hewitt, a colleague of ours here, a nationally known commentator, author, and legal scholar. For decades, Hugh Hewitt has interviewed America's top leaders in politics, media, culture, and now you can hear him live. In his presentation, A Flock of Black Swans, a breakdown of American politics and modern journalism. Hewitt will offer sharp, thought-provoking insights drawn from decades at the forefront of media, law, and public discourse, exploring the unexpected forces shaping our political and cultural landscapes. This in-person event tackles the big questions of our time: how Christians engage culture, speak truth with clarity, and live out conviction with grace in a divided world. This Christ-centered evening is open to students, families, and the entire community. Tickets are on sale now. Seating is limited. Don't miss this rare opportunity. Learn more and reserve your seat today at ccu.edu/Hugh Hewitt. That's ccu.edu/Hugh Hewitt. Bill,
Yeah.
I understand the problem with social media. I've been a kid that grew up with it.
Yeah.
In the sense that it kind of entered my life when I was about 22. Just as I was finishing college, Facebook kind of opened up. And I probably get most of my news from social media. I watch Instagram, all that stuff.
Yeah, and I'm the guy on the show that had to take typing class in high school. Still, if I ever get my time machine perfected in the garage.
On a typewriter?
Yes, on an actual typewriter. I can change ribbon and everything. But if I ever perfect that time machine that I keep tingling with in the garage, I'm going back and smacking high school Bill in the back of the head and say, pay attention, typing class, you idiot. You're going to need this a whole heck of a lot more than you think you do right now.
Do you really need typing, or are we just at a scrolling phase? Because that's where we are with social
nice
media
point.
right now. And Mark Zuckerberg facing a jury trial, landmark trial, over alleged youth harm linked to social media. Yesterday, he was on the stand as to whether or not these platforms harm children. And it's a case that could cost the company billions and redefine social media accountability. Fox Business reporting the unprecedented trial unfolding in Los Angeles is widely seen as a bellwether for hundreds of similar lawsuits pending nationwide. Cameras were barred from the courtroom, and the judge has warned that anyone using AI-enabled smart glasses during the tech titan's testimony could be held in contempt.
Yeah, sure. Let's see how that works.
Dude, a guy victim of his own technology.
Why don't you just cut off the Wi-Fi in the area? Okay, I
What
digress.
all those typers?
I know.
I still love the fact that the dude streaked the Super Bowl with Meta glasses on.
I know.
So next
That's
level.
very smart. Very smart.
The lawsuit, KGM v. Meta Platforms, was filed by a 20-year-old California woman identified simply by her initials. She alleges that Meta and other tech companies deliberately engineered their platforms to hook young users, contributing to her depression and suicidal thoughts, and seeks to hold them accountable. Look, I get how dangerous social media is. Our kids, not on it. You got to be 18 in our house before you're jumping on social media in a personal capacity, right? You got to do some homework. You got to all that stuff. But creating the profile, jumping in, taking those little duck face pictures, posting them on the stories, all that stuff, I don't want my kids having anything to do with it for a few reasons. One, the entire internet's full of 40-year-old fat guys in their underwear, in their basements, acting as if they are somebody else, okay? This was like part of the conversation we had early on with you. You get an email, you get a message, you get a text message. Your first go-to position should be, I'm talking to a 40-year-old Russian sitting in his mom's basement in his underwear. That the cute girl or cute boy that's sending you the message, it probably is not real. You're being scammed, okay? That's number one. Number two, grade performance. If you come home and spend your entire afternoon just scrolling through, watching videos, you're not going to be performing well in school. I don't want the temptation. I don't want the problems that you might be facing as a result of it. So we just keep it away entirely. You hit 18, you're an adult, you want to jump in. At least we've had conversations about what you might be facing. And then, in addition to all that, you got the envy that comes. The studies have shown this over and over again, that young people will compare themselves to who they see online. It results in more depression, more envy, more frustration, because you're not seeing the real deal. You're seeing a whole made-up, performed side of that person, And I think you need to be old enough to recognize those, okay? So I recognize all the problems that are associated with social media consumption, particularly among young people, and we as a family have said it's not happening in our house. At the same time, do I put all the blame on Meta for this? I mean, they designed a program that you want to scroll on. You get into Instagram and TikTok, I myself have found myself going, whoa, spent way too much time here. But what about television? We had this problem with latchkey kids in the 80s and 90s consuming 7 hours of television a day, and it was rotting their brains. We didn't sue the television companies. So who's responsible here, Thorpe? Should Meta pay?
It's funny because I was a latchkey kid. The way that you were saying that, there are lots of experiences I had. But again, if we go back to the early onset of the latchkey kid generation, we didn't have a heck of a lot of choices on the television. There was still 3 major networks, plus you had the UHF just starting. So us going out there and rotting our brains, if that included watching the tail end of the daytime soap operas and game show reruns.
I would say there's a lot of rot in some of those soap operas.
Yeah, that's true. I can't argue that one. And just because I want to let the audience know, Jeff and I, about a decade apart in age and also familial experience. We both have 4 kids, but I kicked off my family about a decade just because of age, earlier than he did. So we were earlier into the adoption of social media than he was, and some of the problems that we see right now weren't necessarily as evident. So my kids had much more exposure than Jeff's do to social media, and I have a first-person account of how badly it can go. We had one of our kids, I won't tell which one it is at the point, but absolutely go through suicidal ideation because of being bullied online, because of being on social media and having other individuals that knew this child of ours. That person was going through the planning stages of how to kill themselves. And this is 110%
Horrible. I'm so
real.
sorry.
And this was, and the bullying was done by people that were older than this student was, and even at a different school at the time, but knew one of the siblings and had been around and been in social settings with the younger sibling. I'm trying to be as antiseptic as possible. And it was atrocious. The only way that we were able to hold these kids accountable is because there were some rules at their school about social media and bullying at the time, and we were able to identify them thanks to the older sibling. Because, of course, you're anonymous online. You can create your own profile, your own name, and it was because of some of those posts and things that our older student was able to say, oh, I know exactly who these people are. A couple of the kids were punished, one of them fairly severely as far as suspension and threatened expulsion, some other stuff. We got apologies from one of them, but not the rest of the families. We all reached out to the families. So I understand how serious this can be. And the other thing that I spent some time after that going in and looking at it is that, yes, these social media platforms use the exact engagement model that they use for gamblers. When Facebook was designing their engagement platform and going through how to pump Instagram and others, they brought in a guy who designed the slot machines for Vegas. That was his thing. Do you know why you pull down to refresh your screen on your social media? It's pulling the arm on the one-armed bandit. It's exactly that mentality. The idea that I'm going to pull this screen down, I'm going to grab this handle, pull this thing down, and I'm going to have the screen refreshed, and I'm going to be a new winner. I'm going to have a new experience. It's directly modeled after that.
So do you hold Meta accountable? Make them pay, Mr. Thorpe.
In some cases, yes. In some cases, no. And what I want to hear from Zuckerberg is, and I think our listeners should watch for this phrase, enhanced user engagement. Watch for that phrase specifically, because that, for me, is the phrase they use to soft pedal addiction. When they're talking about designing the platform to enhance user engagement, they're saying keep you scrolling and engaged longer. everything they do to fulfill the enhanced user engagement is built on and modeled after addiction and the algorithms that they use to keep people gambling. So this is absolutely intentional, and it absolutely is designed that way. I think, at least in my opinion, we can conclude that these systems are designed to do that. And I think then the question becomes, if they are designed to do this, then who gets to have access to them? If we are going to restrict access to gambling platforms and casinos to those of adult age because of the addictive properties of that activity, why don't we then restrict access to the younger kids? Again, I think that if we have to come to the conclusion, if we can come to the conclusion that these social media platforms are built off a model of gambling and addiction, why wouldn't we restrict them from our minors?
And it's one thing to restrict them. It's another thing to make them pay billions of dollars at stake. Where do you land on all this? Maybe you're just freewheeling out there. Kids jump into that social media early on. I think that's not wise. But prove me wrong. Give us a call, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law Text line, 720-819-5115. How about just all the abuse that could come on the lawsuit side? Oh, my goodness. This affects pretty much every family in America.
Oh, I didn't even think of this.
So could you? Are we going to see lawyer lawsuits all over the web like we see for asbestos?
Okay, let me take this in another direction with you. And we'll talk about this after the break. And this is because I think you've hit on something that I didn't even consider. Let's talk about some of the issues we are having with achievement in school, and how, if we turn around and say that these platforms are addictive, how we are just going to end up creating, in some ways, another set of victims. And I'll explain what I mean by that, and how maybe some of the people responsible will use it to avoid responsibility. This could create a giant mess. Yeah,
it's
exactly. Why
cool.
is it's not my fault? It's Facebook's fault. Might be the next platform in abdicating your responsibility as a parent. Ooh, this is interesting. We'll talk about this when we get back.
We'd love to hear from you. Let's talk Game Day Men's Health. Billy and I both becoming clients of them. We've loved getting to meet the folks at Game Day Health. Guys, look, as we get older, things change. Maybe you haven't been feeling like yourself, more tired, more fatigued, more stressed than you want to admit. Bill, take it.
Yeah, now this is a personalized treatment where you get a free testosterone test. They come in, they spin the blood within about 10, 15 minutes. You figure out what your number is, and then you go through kind of a process and procedure of what the treatments are. But let's jump back to the beginning. If you're feeling like you're dragging throughout the day, you're getting a little bit of brain fog, you're feeling that you just can't get in the game, you can't get out of second gear. If you are avoiding things that you used to love to do, maybe that's going out with the buddies. Maybe it's doing that pickup basketball game. Maybe it's hitting the gym. Maybe it's just playing, basketball or playing football with the kids in the yard. Are you dreading being the kid's coach because it takes so much of your energy at the end of the day? And speaking of that energy, are you ignoring that relationship with your significant other because of that energy loss? Are you avoiding intimacy because you just feel not up to it? Well, here's the thing. There could be a lot of reasons for that, but many times it's as simple as your hormones. As we age, our hormones change as well. Yeah, it's like a second puberty. This one sucks, though. This is one where you get fat, you lose your hair, other things happen. It's not too pretty. But Game Day Men's Health can change that course of nature with a simple test and then their data-driven, personalized treatment. They have an in-clinic lab. It checks your testosterone while you wait. Then the medical professionals will design a personalized plan tailored to your body. Plus, unlike those other places, This ain't a 3-year commitment, baby. They don't even want 12 months like the other places do. They go month to month.
Month to month.
Yes,
That's right. In Aurora,
Yep.
Cherry Creek, Parker, Inglewood, and Thornton.
And-
Aurora, Cherry Creek, Parker, Inglewood, Thornton.
And our friends at Game Day have set up a wonderful way for you to make an appointment and check out the clinic that is closest to you, GameDayKNUS.com, GameDayKNUS.com. You can choose the Aurora, Cherry Creek, Parker, Inglewood, or Thornton location where you can make that personalized appointment. The test is free. Find out what your numbers are, then talk to them about the solution.
Game Day Men's Health. Game Day Men's Health, great company. Check them out. Billy and I both benefit from being a part of what they're doing.
Do we ever?
Luis from Aurora texting in, when are we going to start holding people accountable for their own choices? When I'm on my computer and phone and something pops up that I don't want there, I just press the button that closes it. That's what I use. All right, jump in on this debate. We're talking Mark Zuckerberg, the lawsuit against Facebook. This is groundbreaking. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS in Denver.
And on AM 1460 along with FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs. This is where you get to hear both sides. We are The Jeff and Bill Show.
710 KNUS in Denver.
And on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs.
All along the Front Range, this is the Jeff and Bill Show. Billy, when I look out on the kids out there and what they're up to these days, you look at social media, you go, wow, that is addictive. 100%. Kids jumping on, scrolling on their phones, brains being made to mush from all those TikTok videos. But I also look at kids and I'm like, all right, candy's addictive. Trading cards are addictive. Pokemon. Addictive.
Yeah, gotta get that right. Gotta catch them all.
Yeah.
Playing me my Pokemon. I know that.
Right? Kids, how about video? How about PlayStation? My goodness. Trying to pry those controllers out of my kids' hands. There's a lot of stuff coming at them that's seeking to get their time and attention. Do I blame the social media companies for it? Well, if that's the case, Pokemon cards are designed to get kids addicted to that. They've got bright colors and they're shiny, and you got to catch them all. It's in the name. So if we're going to hold Facebook accountable, how about the whole sports car or card trading? You had to have the rookie card. Michael Jordan's rookie cards were so much money. Isn't all of this designed to get kids hooked on it? And where do you draw the line? What do you think, sir?
Well, for me, okay, first of all, I've gone through, over the course of just when I was growing up, a large laundry list of the things that were supposed to rot our brains, from too much TV to the wrong kind of music, to wearing the wrong clothes, to reading a Mad magazine.
Taylor Swift's a whole addiction industry.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'd go Taylor Swift is for an addiction industry, because what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the number of industries that were supposed to rot my brain as I was growing up. And some people listening to the Jeff and Bill Show may think they succeeded. But that's a debate for another day. So I'm not persuaded by the industry is doing this to our kids' brains. But where I'm persuaded is how the industry is set up in order to engage the audience. And there is some of it inside of video games. I don't see any of it inside of a lot of television and some other things. You can make an argument for some of the cards that you have to get for Pokemon based on that being a little bit of gambling, because the card packets are blind and how you pull them. There's an argument there, but I'm not sure it goes as far as the gambling addiction. And where I think social media crosses a line is because it is specifically based on the gambling model and psychological addiction. And that's different. If we could show that game X or song Y was built on that, then I can get there with you. The question, though, that you brought up earlier was payment. And do they pay? I can't figure out how you would derive damages and then what you would do with those damages. So let's say that you were awarded a bazillion, quadrillion, quazillion dollars from Facebook, but how do you decide who are the people that are harmed? I mean, do you do that class action thing where sign up here and you call this number and then you're going to get your $5? That's not going to be effective for anything. So that's the problem of the punishment for pay, I think, is problematic. But I'm encouraged by, I'm not saying I agree with, but I'm encouraged by some of the rules we see in other countries. There are some countries that are trying to take a bite at this and seeing if they can go after it. Australia being most notable recently with a mass restriction, but across England, Spain, Portugal, United Kingdom, France, Norway, all doing it. You've got other companies out there, countries out there. China restricts kids from social media.
I would agree with that. Look, and I've said it on the show many times. It drives my libertarian friends nuts, but prohibition absolutely works when the goal is to reduce consumption. It works on fentanyl. It works, and I believe, on pornography. I think prohibiting minors from being able to access social media will result in fewer minors actually accessing social media. And that's a good thing. So I think I'd be okay with it, right? You got to do the little age verification thing and jump in, and now you can have your TikTok account, okay? I'd be fine with that. Do I think Instagram and TikTok and Meta and all of them got to pay some damages? No. Because I also think there's a certain level of personal responsibility here where, my goodness, if it's harming you, come to terms with it and figure out a plan to address it. If you are an alcoholic, you can't sue the beer company. Even though it's got all these advertisements out there trying to get you to use their product. You, at a certain point, have to take responsibility on that and go, I don't want to be a part of what that is promoting, doing. And it's not just, think about the breadth of society and how much on a daily basis you're getting pushed to do things that are not in your own best interest. How about a high-interest credit card? That ain't good for you. But can you sue the credit card company if you don't make your payments on time because you were the one that bought in to a high-interest? I just don't think the damage component is legitimate, where you can run out there and go, because of you, now you have to pay.
The weird part is that I think if with the alcohol issue, if it was underage, I think you could go after damages because, again, we have a rule about when you can consume alcohol, and that's not what we have right now. But I can't get to how we would distribute damages. I'm not against damages against these companies because they have been able to profit off of it, but I don't think it hurts them or prevents them from doing it in the future in any way, shape, or form. And I can't figure out what we would do with that monetary award. If the monetary award was done to set up the regulatory office or whatever it was that way, then maybe it could get there. That's why I just don't think the pay and having any sort of damages works. But I do think that having some rules and laws about how and when they can be accessed by minors could absolutely be beneficial. However, here's the problem. Right now, we are working through the courts trying to legally hold the social media companies responsible for potentially addictive behavior towards minors. And if we really wanted to solve the problem and felt it was addictive, we could pass a law. We could have those members of Congress that are concerned and the dude in the White House could do something about it. And that's where I really begin to have a problem with this idea of accusing or saying or even proving that the social media providers base their model off of addictive behavior, because we are asking the courts to decide this for us, and in some ways for the courts to create new law based on this rather than going about it and creating the new law than having the court test.
Great point. I think that's right. I would like to hold TikTok accountable for Mamdani. Yeah, that's where he
nice
got popular, and he's about to ruin one of America's greatest cities. All right, join the conversation, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law Text line, 720-819-5115. Let's talk Gyrie's. My wife and I have had a great experience in Gyrie's. They're all over the Denver metro area. We went to the one in Parker and got to sit down with a professional designer who showed us an incredible selection of Hunter Douglas custom blinds, shades, and shutters. In fact, we're now having a second part of our home get some new blinds in them because we've been so thrilled with what they delivered for the other part of our home. I was a little overwhelmed at first because I've never worked with a design pro, but she walked us through everything, helped us find the perfect options to enhance the look and functionality of our home. So whether your curtains are clashing or you just want a fresh look, Gyrie's has the solutions for you. Their designers are the experts, can help you with everything from window treatments to full room decor. And here's the best part. They offer a personalized in-home consultation, which means they'll come directly to you. You can get the same expert advice right in your own home. Do yourself a favor and get started today. Visit GuyRees.com to schedule your in-home consultation. That's GUIRYS.com. GuyRees, GUIRYS.com. You'll be sure to thank me. All right, more of the Jeff and Bill Show to come. You're listening to Jeff and Bill on 710 KNUS in Denver.
And on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs. This is where you get to hear both sides. We'll be right back. This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
.710 KNUS in Denver.
And on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs.
All along the Front Range. This is the Jeff and Bill Show, and our colleague, Hugh Hewitt, is going to be joining us in Colorado on March 13th, 7 p.m., for the President's Speaker Series at Colorado Christian University about his new book, a presentation, A Flock of Black Swans, a breakdown of American politics and modern journalism. Hewitt will offer a thought-provoking insights, or provide thought-provoking insights on drawn from decades at the forefront of media, law, and public discourse, exploring the unexpected forces shaping our political and cultural landscape. Hugh is one of the very best. This guy, when I first started getting into politics...
tell the story, because you've got some
one of
really
the,
interesting
Yeah, well, I read
experience
his
with him.
book, If It's Not Close, They Can't Cheat. And then just started listening to him and following him. And so he was part of my development. And then he used to broadcast at Colorado Christian University, and I'd hang out in a studio. And Vice President Dick Cheney came by and all this stuff. He's been at the forefront of American politics for decades. So this will be a great event. Go to ccu.edu/Hugh Hewitt, March 13th, 7 p.m., Colorado Christian University, ccu.edu/Hugh Hewitt. Bill, I think they're going to try to hold Facebook liable here. And this is going to kick off a whole lot of advertisements.
Yeah.
Like you see on mesothelioma.
Oh, yeah.
And,
or the thing where you were at Camp, whatever the heck it was, you drank the water. Yeah, exactly.
You drink the water at Camp Lejeune. And everyone has had Facebook, pretty much. So are we all getting a penny from Mark Zuckerberg, you think, here?
I like your idea that I think that they want to make some sort of a damage award as a statement.
Yes.
Regardless of whether or not it will work. And the funny part about it is they'll make the damage award and statement, and then I doubt we'll have any laws or any changes. So it's basically going to be like...
You don't think so?
Yeah.
I think they'll ban it for kids.
You think?
I think under 18, I think you'll have to do a little age verification thing.
But
I think
is
Congress will do that.
But it depends for me is how does that age verification thing work? Because if it's just put up the thing and have the person
just
click
scroll
yes.
down.
Yeah, I don't think that stops anybody. And even though there were supposed to be an age limit on some social media platforms when my kids were younger, they just lied about their age. I mean, when you first signed up for, I think it was Facebook, they tried to say, oh, we have age verification because they asked you your birthday. Well, one of my kids just said, let's see, 4, 5, 6. They can do math. They just added the number of years.
We do have IDs. And I think there's technology that taps into your ID, your driver's license number, all that stuff.
Yeah, but here's the thing is,
like,
do you want your personal driver's license in a database at a private social media company? Is that what you want?
Nah, it's already there.
And then, well, here's
I
the thing
guarantee
is,
you,
where am I hacking?
So I ran a digital ad agency for 6 years, sold it, and this was like during the Wild West ad programming style.
Yeah.
And back then, Facebook had already overlaid all of your purchasing data onto your profile. This was like 2013, 14.
Yeah.
They had partnered with Axiom and DataLogic. So I could program to a woman that lived in Highlands Ranch who drove a Toyota, had 3 kids, and bought Cheerios if I wanted to. I had your financial information overlaid on your Facebook data. So for instance, there's a certain, let's just say there's a business in Highlands Ranch that wanted to reach people of a certain income bracket.
Yeah.
And we were able to target that.
Yeah.
So it's already, they know everything about you already. So why not require that? If I want to run ads, for instance, on Facebook, I have to upload my driver's license.
Well, here's the thing. If you're underage, what do you provide? What identification do you provide?
You can't.
So then how do you use age verification to provide? What do I do?
Well, you just put your license in. If you don't have your license, then you can't get a Facebook account.
But why can't I go and
then you can't vote either, Bill. That's how it all works.
But why don't I take my older brother, sisters, father, mothers, or any other thing and just do it that way?
Because of your name. I mean, if you want to be Randy Thorpe, I don't know what your dad's name was, but
the issue is this. But I'm not held to that name online. I can change my name to whatever it is. So the fact that I register as Randy Thorpe or Dingus McGillicuddy. It doesn't matter. I can just change that name whatever I want because
No,
why
that's
am
to
I held to
match
that?
your ID.
No,
I think this is
But
where
my
they're going to
profile
go on
doesn't.
all this.
But my profile doesn't have
Plus,
to match that on the ID. And
Get rid of all those stupid Russian accounts.
can't
run
I?
around.
But how many accounts am I allowed to register for?
Well, no.
I know only one. Why can't I have more than one account? Why
Because it
would
has
you
to be
artificially?
linked.
But why would you artificially restrict that based on the provider? Why can Facebook only offer me one account? If I want to have 2 or 3 or 4 accounts, what if I want to have one that's my private family account that I share all my information with family? Then I want to run for office, and I want to have a Facebook account.
You can have those
that's
separate accounts.
But that's 2
But
different
they're
accounts.
different. No, one's a page, one's an account. They're
But no,
actually
those are
different
But
in
they're
Facebook.
they're 2 different accounts. They're 2 different accounts. They're still
No,
run that.
it's one account.
That's
It's just different pages.
Oh no, they're 2 they're 2 accounts. And what I'm telling you that I understand 2 different pages, but I'm telling you from people that I know in radio and other media, it's 2 accounts. They have 2 different logins, 2 different profiles. They were created at different times and they're not connected.
And you find that a problem getting rid of those? I don't.
No, what I'm asking is, so if it's only singular, why would you artificially restrict the person to only have the one? I can open up multiple bank accounts. So why are they artificially restricted to one? Because if I can have 2, then I can take mom or dad's ID and I can go register.
Again, going back to the kids, it released. I think you and I would both agree that people under 18 maybe shouldn't have social media. I agree with that. Do you?
Yeah, but I can't figure out how we'd enforce it.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
the
can't figure it
debate will continue tomorrow. We'll be right back at it. Thank you to everybody texting in and being a part of the conversation today. This is what makes this show totally unique, is that you get to be a part of it. So thank you to everybody. All right, you've been listening to the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS in Denver.
And proudly waking up with AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs. We love you guys. Thanks for all the text messages from the Springs this morning. This is where you get to hear both sides. We're back at it again tomorrow. It's